Bordeaux have too much for Toulouse as they reach a first Champions Cup final. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. Another brilliant game of rugby. It really has been a treat this weekend. All the entertainment that we have been given, especially the first half of this game. Like second half, there was a little bit of tension there, but as Bordeaux pulled away a little bit, but yeah, the first half was just 100 miles an hour. It was crazy. So Toulouse, they're attacking early on, but Miafu cops up the ball in the collision. Jalabert then breaks, brilliant pace for him, breaking well over the halfway, then offloads from the edge of the 22 from the deck to Samu. Samu catches the ball above his head, keeps in stride though, and goes over to score, convert for 7-0. Absolutely brilliant counter-attacking there. Then Willis not rolling away, and Jalabert makes it 10-0. At the restart then, Marchand over the ball to win a penalty. Malia makes it 10-3. No Ramos for Toulouse today. One of, their many stars that got injured for them, in the run up to this. He's a big miss, but Malia, not a bad replacement. It just shows how much quality they have in their squad. Toulouse then spread it off them all into 22 to go through the phases. Bordeaux's defence standing up and scrambling well, but they're working it closer and closer to the line. And then Delibey gets over in the corner. Conversion missed, 10-8. Bordeaux then pinged at the breakdown. They get a warning, and Malia puts Toulouse ahead 11-10. I think that was the only time Toulouse were actually ahead in the whole game. Then a great run by Barros deep into 22. 5 meters out with cycling. Bordeaux, they come back inside. Then they whip it back out wide, and Bielbarri dives over the corner. Conversion miss, 15-11. Then Larnaud gets over the ball as Flamand carries, and it's a penalty to Bordeaux. It's well inside their own half, maybe 55 or more meters out, but Luku absolutely smashes it. It wobbles a bit in the air, but it goes over. 18-11. Damien Penaud then kicks through, chases, fights to get the ball. That guy, he's so strong. He does get the ball. He offloads to Luku, but he can't hold it. If he had, maybe they were in again. Toulouse then managed to clear. They put the squeeze on then at a scrum, force a penalty. They go up the line. Line out, not great though. And then Willis knocks it on as Flamand taps it down. And he thinking at that stage, maybe the scrum is a way for Toulouse to get something back in this game, but it didn't really eventuate for them. Jalabert then smashes the clearance kick downfield, and it's half time, 18-11. Into the second half then, Bordeaux collect the kick off. Bielbarri breaks over the halfway line, gives it to Samu. Samu then, he comes on the wraparound Samu. Samu, a lovely out the back door pass back to him, and Bielbarri goes under the post, converted for 25-11. What a start to the half, and what an absolute brilliant try. Some of the tries Bordeaux got in this game, just amazing. And they're such a great team to watch. They're so talented. Then Toulouse running the ball from a scrum near their own line. Bordeaux very aggressive with a counter ruck, almost turned the ball over, but there's hands on the ruck, so penalty to Toulouse. Then Toulouse start to get a bit of momentum. Flamand bursts into 22. Gazzotti comes in at the side. He goes to the bin. Toulouse forcing penalties. They opt for a scrum in the shadow of the posts, and they go off the back, and then Barassi comes back against the grain and over to score, converted for 25-18. Toulouse up in the tempo. Bordeaux wobbling a little bit, similar to the way they did against both Ulster and Munster in the knockout stages. And you're wondering, can they get through it again? Do Toulouse have more to offer in this particular game than those two teams did? We then have a check on a hit on Boros. as he kicked clear from his own 22. Referee decides that Netty is committed to the tackle. Could have been a different, gone a different way, because it was very close on whether it was going to be a judged foul play or not. Bordeaux then win a penalty at the breakdown to go to the corner, to go for, one out from the maul. Then, Beauchaton forces his way over, converts his miss, and 30 points to 18, and they are beginning to stretch out there, making it more difficult for Toulouse. Toulouse, though, they come again. Bordeaux under pressure, 10 metres from the line, but then Capuozzo he passed the ball into touch with two players outside of him, and just before that, a few phases back as well, he gets him into the 22, but again, he's got options outside. He decides to go himself, and then the recycle kind of slows their momentum down as well. Bordeaux then win a penalty at the breakdown, and they go to the corner. Oh, sorry, no, we've already done that. I missed my place on my notes. We talked about the Capuozzo one. Then Toulouse back on the edge of 22. Bordeaux, they're holding them there, and then they win a penalty. And then a minute later, then Routier gets over the ball and wins another penalty for them as well. And you just feel time really running out for Toulouse at this stage. There's only 4 or so minutes left on the clock. It's going to be like, if any team can do it, Toulouse can do it, but you're doubting whether they can or not. And then Bordeaux, it's them that work it up to Toulouse line. They batter away for a few phases before Tammy Fanua goes over, and that's it. Result is now beyond any doubt. Conversions missed, but it doesn't matter. 35 points to 18. That's how it finished. Full-time score. Bordeaux deserved winners into the final. They were number 1 seeds all the way through. Very entertaining all the way through, and it's a mouth-watering final as well between them and Northampton Saints. Most people probably before the semi-finals would have predicted a repeat of last year's final, Leinster versus Toulouse. But, I said it in the preview that any combination of the 4 teams that were in the semi-finals in the final was going to be an entertaining game to watch. And those 2 teams, brilliant attacks, but I think both as well have underrated packs, and we saw both of them delivering in these 2 games. But let's have a look at the stats, and then we'll talk about the 2 teams a little bit after that. So let me pull the stats up here on the official site. And I'm just going to say, I'm not even going to talk, apart from right now, I'm not going to talk about maul meters gained, because I've said it so many times, the stat is wrong, because the numbers that are actually in there are the number of successful mauls. So yeah, we're not going to pull that one up. Okay, so on tries, 5 tries to 2. Bordeaux just absolutely on fire in this one, and scoring when they needed to. And that's always the thing, right, is against the big teams with the pedigree in Europe, the likes of Toulouse, the likes of Leinster, you've got to keep that scoreboard ticking over. You can't have a pause or a break where suddenly momentum shift back to them, and they're the ones, with the last 2 or 3 scores in the game, because that's when that wobble, turns into something even worse. So fair play to them for that. Like they created plenty of opportunities, and they took them with aplomb as well. On to then attack. So meters made, 544 for Bordeaux, 620 for Toulouse. So Toulouse edging that, but something to look at here is number of carries, 97 for Bordeaux. So it means that they're round about 5.5 meters per carry, and Toulouse had 149 carries, so they're just over 4 meters per carry. Both decent numbers, but Bordeaux, again, you think of the packs and you think Toulouse are the ones with the big men that can get over the gain line, but Bordeaux were doing it today. Obviously, plenty of those meters are made out wide by the backs as well, but don't take anything away from the effort of that Bordeaux pack, because they were excellent today. Clean breaks then, 8 for Bordeaux and 9 for Toulouse. Defenders beaten 17-20. So Toulouse actually having slightly the better of it in terms of actually breaking the line. But Bordeaux definitely the better finishers today. Offloads then 8-13. So both teams looking to keep that ball alive. Passes 96-142. So if you look at it, almost even in terms of both teams' number of passes to carries. 97 carries and 96 passes for Bordeaux, 149 carries and 142 passes for Toulouse. So good, spread of attacking options really between them. Possession then 42% to 58, and territory 46 to 54. So Toulouse at more ball, more possession, but Bordeaux, when they had the ball, they did more with it than them. On to defence then, 142 tackles to 86, 81% tackle success rate for Bordeaux. That's, that is good at Champions Cup level. A lot of teams will have a decent defensive performance, but they'll still only be in the high 70s. 75% for Toulouse is kind of maybe average for teams at this level due to how much quality there is in attack. Turnovers won then 8-7, and first half we saw Toulouse winning some turnovers, winning some of those battles, winning some of the collisions, but second half then it was more, it was kind of even in the first half, but second half Bordeaux kind of more on top in that. On to set piece then, lineouts 13-1 to 9 in favour of Bordeaux. 81%, not brilliant for your lineout. Normally you expect, to be up there, kind of 85% and up, right? 90% for Toulouse is decent, but they didn't get much in terms of, strikes and stuff off it as well. On to scrums then, 6 scrums, 1 to 8. 100% for Bordeaux, 89% for Toulouse. So Toulouse, losing, 1 scrum against the head. But, early on, they had the nudge in the scrum. Second half then, it kind of turned around again a little bit as Bordeaux just took over most aspects of the game. Kicks from hand then, 29-28 for 1,032 meters to 956 for Toulouse. And again, I'm blue in the face saying it, entertaining games have lots of kicks for lots of meters. And, because the kicks create the mismatches that we want to see and allows the likes of BLBRE, Pernod, whoever, to find space, Jalabert as well, find that space and exploit it. And we saw that, mainly from Bordeaux today, but Toulouse, to some extent as well. Retain kicks then 2 each, so most of their kicks, obviously not contestable ones. Onto the breakdown then. 57 rucks 1 to 95, 2 rucks lost each, 92% to 91. Low ruck success percentage compared to, like, normally you expect it to be up, kind of 95 to 98 is where you'd expect teams to be. But both teams very aggressive at the ruck here. There were times when the ball would be turned over once and then turned back over almost immediately as well. So both teams getting in there and absolutely, going at each other. Then the maul totals 3 mauls for Bordeaux, 4 for Toulouse, 67% maul success to 100%. And then finally on to discipline. So penalties conceded, 9 penalties each. It wasn't really a game where there was a lot that the referee was deciding in terms of, momentum. There was that 1 yellow card, but, there wasn't much they could do about that because, it was very, very clear that, that infringement warranted a yellow card. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the teams. Let's talk about the defending champions now, ex-champions, Toulouse. So, first half, they fall 10 points to nil down. They managed to work their way back to 11-10, but they weren't ahead for very long. They fell behind then. It felt like in that first half they needed to get themselves maybe back level by then and then have a good start to the second half. They didn't. They were 7 points behind, and then they conceded immediately after the break, and then things just got worse from there in that second half. And we saw both of these teams wobbling in their quarterfinals. Toulouse were losing against Sale at the halftime break. Bordeaux had that little wobble against Munster, but they came through it. And again, it was Bordeaux when they had the wobble today who came through, and Toulouse, they couldn't find an extra gear that they needed in that second half. You take out some of the talent they're missing, like the likes of Kinghorn, Dupont, Ramo, amazing players to be missing from your team. So they still made a good fist of it today, but not at the level of Bordeaux, at least in this game. But it's a quality team, and no doubts that they're going to be back. And I think if they'd made the final, potentially, I think they would have been the favourites to go on and actually make it. What would it be, 7 times champions then? That's absolutely crazy. But yeah, they're a quality team. But let's talk about Bordeaux. So they got that fast start that they needed. They stood toe to toe with Bordeaux. They didn't panic when they went behind. They just they regrouped. They got themselves back in front, and they were taken as well. The penalties that they took, were at crucial times as well, just eking that lead out a little bit. And then into the second half, the quick start to the second half, they got over for the try, and then they were just adding on to the second try there, gave them that 12-point lead. There's still always, with a team like Toulouse, there's always that chance that you could concede. So, but their defense was amazing. They won those penalties. They were keeping them away from their line, and then they go back up the other end of the field, and then they scored a try that completely sealed the victory. So brilliant performance for them. The one thing that will be a bit of a downer from today is Pernod got injured in the second half. It looked like a serious injury as well. So fingers crossed he's going to be available for the final, because that would be his first Champions Cup final, and it'd be a real pity that if he missed it, because he's been instrumental in Bordeaux reaching this stage. Himself and BLBRE have been the stars of the team, but again, there's more than them in this team. Some fantastic performances in the pack today as well, and they're going to need that in the final against Northampton. Two teams that again, both I think have underrated packs, and they have absolutely stellar backs as well. We saw the way Northampton exposed Leinster on multiple occasions as well in their semi-final as well. So it's going to be a rip-roaring final, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it.